Hardware wise, I think the design has aged really well on both of these phones here. The S21 is a little bit taller. The iPhone is definitely heavier. It's actually noticeably heavier. And the S21 is a lot more comfortable to hold for me as well too. The iPhone is kind of squared off on the sides, so it makes it not sharp, but it's, you know, just kind of boxy a little bit. But yeah, I do like the design on both. I think they look really, really nice. I love the camera design. I love the cutout on the Samsung's S21 Ultra here. Matte finish, IP68. The cool thing about the S21 is that you do have S Pen support. Even though it's not built in, you do have the pen support on here. So you could do digital artwork and stuff like that, you know, no problem. So both of these phones came out in 2021. Which phone has the better display? And to me, it's the S21 Ultra, you know, pretty easily. As far as the display design, it looks a lot more up to date as far as the having a punch hole instead of the notch. And yeah, I overall just really like the colors on the S21 Ultra's display. It's a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It's 120 Hz HDR10+, 1500 nits, 1440p 515 for the PPI. And then on the 13 Pro Max, we do have a 6.7-inch display, and it is the XDR OLED, 120 Hz, 1200 nits peak brightness. That's one of the things I noticed today outdoors, is that, you know, when I was taking photos, it's a lot easier to see the S21 Ultra here for sure. And it does have a 1284 by 2778 resolution and 458 for the PPI. Very nice displays. One thing you may or may not like about the S21's display is the curved panel. It's not a dramatic curve, but it is, you know, a curved panel. So overall, I do like the panels on both. The iPhone has 120 Hz, very smooth. So, you know, I just like the colors and the overall look of the S21's display, but they're both pretty nice. I think they both age pretty well. But again, I think the S21 has a slight advantage. Let's talk about these specs a little bit more here. So the S21 Ultra is running Android 15, One UI 7, Snapdragon 888, 128 gigs of internal storage, 8 gigs of RAM. The iPhone has the Apple A15 chip running iOS 18, and then we also do have the 128 gigs and 6 gigs of RAM on these base models here. As you can see, the score difference here in Geekbench is much better on the iPhone. Now, general speed is pretty nice on both of these phones. One UI 7 has really made the S21 Ultra feel, you know, really new, like a newer device. With the updated animations, it's a lot smoother. To me, it's not really lagging and, you know, stuff like that. So I've been pretty impressed with the S21 Ultra with this update. Now, the thing is that it's currently in security patch stages. It will not be getting any more major OS updates. The iPhone will be getting a few more updates, so you do have that advantage there. But even though we have better Geekbench scores on the iPhone, as you guys can see, the S21 is not too far behind. But the iPhone, it looks to be definitely just a little bit quicker here. Okay. So I think general performance has pretty good. It's not bad. I don't have a bad time loading up stuff with the S21. Check out the 3D Mark scores. So I would say for overall power, the iPhone definitely is on top when it comes to these benchmarks for sure. And then also when it comes to like gaming performance, it's definitely going to be a little bit better. So we can go ahead and launch PUBG here. See which one gets into here first. And be sure to subscribe, guys, if you're not. Got a lot of people saying they're not getting the video, so be sure to click that bell, subscribe. That should keep you up to date, because I know a lot of people, it just pops up on the home page. It's a lot quicker on the iPhone here. I think the S21 had to download something. A good example of this is going to be games like PUBG, Call of Duty is going to play a little bit better on the 13 Pro Max. They'll play at 120 frames. And yeah, it's just overall going to be a slightly better experience. The S21 can still play at 90 frames, but it doesn't feel as smooth as 120 frames. But I would say, when I was in Vegas, I did my, day in the life with this phone. Playing a few matches of PUBG, Call of Duty is perfectly fine for the casual gamer. But if you're, on a budget and you're trying to get some competitive, gaming in, then you probably want to go with like an S23 series phone. But the, 13 Pro Max is able to play this 120 frames really well. So I would overall say for more power users, probably gonna want to go with a 13 Pro Max. If you're a lighter user, it really doesn't matter because it's pretty similar when it comes to performance and just general, app loading and stuff like that. Seems to be, pretty good on both. Let's check out the stereo speakers. The iPhone definitely has a stronger bass than the S21. They both have a pretty good sound. Yeah, and it does sound like the iPhone is a little bit louder. I will go with the iPhone speaker. I think it's a little bit fuller sounding, and I think it is a little bit louder. So I think the iPhone has a slight edge there in the speaker department. As far as the face unlocking, you have your, face unlock. But one thing you can always love about, Android phones is you get the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, which is pretty quick, and you can do face unlock as well too. Another thing here that I noticed is that even though we don't have any AI, or a lot of the Galaxy AI features, we do have our circle to search is on the S21, and then we also have our updated Gemini built in here as well too. Unfortunately, the older iPhones, they don't get any of the new AI stuff, unfortunately. So that is one thing that I like about these older Android phones, especially when you get to like the S22 series. They get a lot more features, so it is kind of unfortunate because of the RAM limitations, I'm assuming, with the older models being 6 gigs. All right, so I'm very curious to see what you guys think about the cameras here. So the S21 has a 108 megapixel standard, 10 megapixel telephoto, 3 times optical. Then you have a periscope telephoto that is 10 times optical as well. And then we also do have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. We can shoot an 8K 24, and we also have up to 100 times zoom. 40 megapixel selfie, shoots in 4K 60. The iPhone has a 12 megapixel standard, 12 megapixel telephoto, 3 times all the way up to 15 times. 12 megapixel ultra wide, and can shoot in 4K 60 as well. And then you also do have a 12 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. For me personally, battery life is pretty good on the S21 Ultra as a lighter user, but if you start to play games, run GPS, the Snapdragon AAA processor is just not that efficient, and standby time is not that great. As opposed with the 13 Pro Max, I feel like I get better screen on time, and this one is at 80 something percent battery health. Yeah, 86% battery health. But you do get pretty good screen on time with the 13 Pro Max. So I think battery life is fine if you're an average, just normal user. But I would say if you do more intense stuff, the battery lasts a little bit longer on the 13 Pro Max for me. You have a 5,000 milliamp versus a 4,352 milliamp. And then we also have 25 watt charging on the S21, wireless and reverse wireless charging. The iPhone, we have your wireless charging with the MagSafe capability as well. So I think it really comes down to what you guys think about the pros and cons here. Be sure to let me know what you guys think.